Vicky goes on and on with Vicky Stokes and James Wells.
So, how are you? What have you been up to since last we spoke, which was a couple of days ago?
I went to Aldi.
Really? Do tell.
It was fine. But I tell you what, right? I eat a lot of chicken thighs. It's the best bit of a chicken.
Okay. Why is it the best bit of chicken? Because a lot of people would say that the breast is because there's no bones. You get,
and a lot of people are wrong,
okay.
as we know.
Well, yeah, in general. So,
the breast is a fine piece of meat, but
yes,
but it's quite dull, isn't it? And it's prone to dryness.
yes. I mean, chicken in general is dull. It's nice. I quite like plain chicken, but obviously most people will do various things with chicken to give it a flavour.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see where. Was it a thigh? You said
thigh. Yeah.
Thigh. Why is that more flavoursome than a breast?
Because it's juicier and more calorific.
Okay.
And you know that if something's got a lot of calories, it tends to be tasty. But you take the skin off, unfortunately, and it's very healthy.
Whoa!
Lean meat.
Who's taking the skin off? Are you taking the skin off?
If you want to be healthy, James, you can't eat chicken skin. This is the tragedy of life.
It is. But why can't you eat chicken skin? Is it? I always thought it was because of, if you're marinating a chicken and the skin, then usually all that kind of salt and sugar. But then I suppose if that was the case, you just wouldn't bother marinating at all. So the chicken skin is actually bad.
Well, it's not. I mean, it tastes great, but it's very high fat content.
Okay.
So,
do you think cannibals have the same issue with people? Like, do they go under the skin to the muscle and the flesh?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it depends on the cut of meat. Like your buttocks, that's going to be a good source of human steak, isn't it?
Yes.
A rump.
Yeah, everyone likes a rump. So.
I mean, I don't know. I've never eaten humans. No. But, this is only the beginning of this crisis. Who knows where it will end?
Well, yes. Yeah, true. I mean, they're already making places up, or there's provisions in place for
cannibalism.
Well, no, I was going to say making extra room for like morgues and stuff. So
yeah,
if we get to the point where the makeshift morgues haven't got any room, we may have to resort to eating our families.
I don't think that's the next step when the morgues run out of place. I don't think they go, right, well, now we're just going to eat them. Well, I think you've watched too much, what's that film called? Soylent Green. I could only, unfortunately, think of the name of the book. Have you not?
No.
In the book,
is it a different film? Is it a different
title?
Is the film called a different thing?
The book's called a different thing.
Right.
The book's called Make Room, Make Room.
Okay, and the film's called
Soylent Green.
No, it's got nothing to do with the Green Inferno, has it?
No.
Okay, that's about cannibals as well. Is green a motif for cannibalism?
Well, in Disney, the green is evil, isn't it?
Is it?
Have you not noticed that? There's always like green smoke around the bad.
But that's definitely Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent,
and in The Lion King.
Yeah, there's a bit of green smoke in there at one point.
And in Little Mermaid.
When?
Ursula, when she's doing her crazy song,
it's
there's
purple,
a little bit of green. No, she's purple, but there's the green
The green and purple go well. It's like the Joker, isn't it? It's like,
Well, because they're opposite on the colour chart. Maybe I just read too many Tumblr posts.
Possibly. I mean, there's a lot of time to do such thing now. So,
yeah. So obviously, the very first episode has to be about. Vicky goes on and on about the coronavirus, or are we calling it COVID-19 or C-19?
All of the above.
I think I text COVID-19, but I say the coronavirus.
See, I normally text Corona, and that's about it. I've always called it Corona. Because, I mean, let's be honest, it was called coronavirus a lot, way before people started calling it COVID-19.
But that's because the type of virus that it is a coronavirus. So flu is a type of coronavirus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's sort of like its family name, and then COVID-19 is the particular kind of coronavirus.
Yeah. I mean, it's got many names.
The Chinese flu.
Chinese flu. Yeah, what a dickhead. That man. I mean, Boris has got it now, hasn't he? So,
did you see how many times that Trump shook people's hands and was patting them on the back and then touching his face? Like, mate, if he doesn't get it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but he thinks he's indestructible anyway. So I can imagine if he gets it, he's still going to do these talks on the podium.
Oh yeah, he's not going to
self-isolate. No, of course he's not. It's twat. Yeah. So anyway, the name. Yeah. Well, so he. There's been a lot of outcry because he keeps calling it the Chinese virus. I mean, I get what he's saying from his little brain point of view. The fact that it originated in China, but that doesn't mean to say it's Chinese virus.
It doesn't have a passport.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I get. I mean, if he was a child.
Okay, but here's the thing, right?
You would kind of go, yeah, do you know what? Bless them. They're calling it a Chinese virus. They don't know no better. Because he's a full-grown adult with the brain of a child.
But it's even more than that, okay? Because here's the thing. We're living in the 21st century where we don't designate things like that to a particular country because it does have negative effects, right? Yeah. So the 1918 flu pandemic that was at the time called Spanish flu, we don't call it that. Well, no. Proper articles don't call it that. They call it the 1918 flu pandemic.
No.
It's not called German measles.
Well, it was.
But it was. But now, if you go to the doctors and you're presenting with the symptoms of German measles, they would say, oh, you have rubella.
Yes.
Anyway, so, and he's supposed to be the leader of the free world and
Yeah. You're supposed to be diplomatic.
Come on, mate.
Yeah.
And that's all. So it's like, and the thing is people do look up to politicians and statesmen and stateswomen.
But that's what,
so come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. I'm not sticking up for the guy. Definitely not. But what I'm saying is because he is quite, he's uneducated. He's not very tactful, and they are two of the qualities you want in a president. Because he's none of them things.
Well, and
I get why he's saying Chinese flu. I get why he's saying it because he's kind of
he's none of those things is why he won.
Exactly,
which is a tragedy.
I mean, would it be a different ball game if Barack was in charge at this moment in time? I think he would have been a lot more level-headed and not chilled, but kind of, oh well, I just liked him anyway. So
yeah, me too.
Cool, he's a cool dude. I mean, it's all opinion, isn't it? These are our opinions. They might not necessarily be everyone's.
And look, neither of us live in America, so maybe it'd be very different if we lived there.
Yeah. So So COVID-19.
As lockdown.
Well, it's not though, is it? Come on. This is what's getting on the tits is that, old BJ did that announcement. Was it Tuesday or something when it was just him in a room on his own? And
Monday, I think.
Was it Monday?
Because
because yeah, that's right, and because Mother's Day came and went, and no one was listening, and they were going out and still doing their normal things, and I think he got a bit pissed off by that point, and he was like, and he did that announcement.
You're upset that it's called lockdown?
It's not, is it? I mean, there's other countries out there that are on lockdown, proper lockdown, but there's a lot of things that are still open, like, you know, the trains and stuff are still going, the buses are still going, although I haven't seen many buses lately. It's not a lockdown, but obviously straight away the British public, the great British public, you know, #lockdown and we're stuck in now, blah blah blah. And it's like, you're not. This is a semi-lockdown, if anything.
It's because, though, we are being limited, and I mean, I don't know. Look, I live in central London, so I have seen that people have been being fined for congregating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You've actually seen this? You've witnessed this?
Yeah, well, on Twitter, I follow Kilburn Police and West Hampstead Police.
Okay.
And they were like, yes, unfortunately, we had to fine several groups of people £30 for...
Did they, though? Are they saying that? You know?
I don't know. It's West Hampstead. That's not where I live, but, you know, it's full of posh people.
Yeah. Yeah, so 30 quid's going to be nothing to them, is it? So.
Well, yeah. That's a whole other issue.
These are the same kind of people that are saying, you know, I can afford to take my child out of school for a holiday and just pay the fine. They're gonna laugh off £30 if they want to congregate.
But I suppose it's the symbolism behind that, you know, like it's punitive. You can't just be leaving your house and hanging around, because it is dangerous. And I know that, I mean, there are two sides in my brain, right? There's the side of me that's like, people must follow the orders and stay at home and, you know, try not to catch this illness and or spread it is my biggest problem. But on the other hand, I'm like, isn't it interesting how the government has just immediately made us all stay in our houses, and like how quickly society just, you know, succumbs to the edicts from on high, like how what sheeple we are. So, you know,
but
I've got two thoughts.
But do you really think that? Because one of the issues is the fact that the government make these announcements and people ignore it. They're not, you know.
Yeah, but they don't look, right. I went to Aldi and
for your thighs.
For my thighs, but they didn't have any. It was a tragedy. No toilet paper, no chicken thighs.
Right.
But so I bought some steak. It's fine. I'll eat my meat. Sorry, vegans. I respect that they want to not eat meat, but I like it. Sorry. You know, like I watch these YouTube videos of these people, you know, giving very valid and nuanced arguments about why we shouldn't eat meat, and they're talking to people on the street, and the people on the street are like, yeah, well, it's because you know, like when we were cavemen, and then this guy's like, yeah, but we're not cavemen anymore. I get it, but here's my argument to him. I want to.
Yeah, well, you know.
I'd like to meet, I can't remember his name, but I'd like to meet him and just be like, mate, I get it. And I respect what you're saying, but I want to eat meat. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, that's a different topic. So, and people were queuing outside Aldi, you know, they weren't just busting in and...
Were they doing the whole queue system thing, or were they just...
Yeah, because it was...
Or was it just a big queue?
No, so what it is they're limiting the amount of people that are allowed in each shop at one time.
Okay.
So that it's not overcrowded. So that social distancing still happens.
Can be done, yeah.
And so they were letting in like groups of 5 or 6 at a time whilst people were coming out. So there was some sort of flow.
Okay.
And instead of just ignoring this, you know, one security guard that obviously isn't armed or anything, people were stood waiting, So I think that actually we are, as a race, quite compliant on the whole.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that this whole pandemic has taught me, well, not taught me as such, it's just kind of confirmed to me the amount of idiots there are in the world. I mean, when it's not uncommon knowledge to you that I don't do people. I don't do people. I don't. People get on my tits. I love them, and I'm very much a people person. But at the same time, I mean, people keep saying to me, bearing in mind, it's only been like a week and a half, and people are like, "Oh, you bored yet?" No, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it because you're not. I'm just chilling out at home. I'm working from home. I'm relaxing. I'm doing things that I haven't done for ages. Picking up the guitar. Without having to think, I've got to go out and see this person and do that. And, it's great talking to you. But it's just like now it's kind of, and I get the whole, everyone's trying to be positive about this situation and it's lovely. And I'm not saying I don't agree with it, but like the whole, like suddenly now every fucker's doing a WhatsApp group and, WhatsApp groups that I thought were long dead and just sitting right at the bottom of my fucking app have now resurfaced because people want to get in touch, like in the Zoom thing, and like every household's doing Zoom now, and it's like
or house party, or
before you know it, I'm not going to have any time to do all the things that I was planning to do during quarantine because every fucker's going to want to have a meeting and have a catch up. And
the thing that I'm finding is that I have so many phone calls.
This is what I mean,
and I can't be like, oh, sorry, I was out because obviously I wasn't out.
Yeah. I mean, because they know full well that you're in.
But we can turn our phones off, I guess.
We can. But then maybe the coward in me is like, well, then that's an obvious call to say he's turned his phone off for a reason because he doesn't want to speak to me. Yes, that's
fine.
Whereas before you could go, but listen, really sorry, James, I was on the loo.
James, maybe you can say you just need to embrace that maybe you want to be an arsehole and that's all right.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I think people are too scared. My niece rang me earlier and she was like, oh, my mum offered my services and it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that wasn't my intention today and, to go shopping for someone. And I was like, well, Raf, just don't do it.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, but I don't want to look like an arsehole. And I was like, look like an arsehole. Who gives a fuck?
No one will ask you again.
Be an arsehole. I know plenty of them and they don't seem bothered.
No, it's very true. Very true. Just this whole thing, like people. And that's the thing, like, as well, the amount of things you see on Twitter and social media about the government. And I don't, I think I've spoke to you about this before with the government and any government. I'm not into politics. I don't actually trust any of them. Not one of them. So I find it very difficult when it comes to, election days and stuff to who to vote for. But I think in this instance, people moaning at the government for not doing anything sooner, I get what they're saying. But at the same time, because of my lack of faith in the not the British public, but not the human race, but just my lack of faith in people in general and how they've proven that before even a full lockdown, they've gone and panic bought and just that kind of attitude. If to say, like 2 weeks ago, the government had turned around and said, like, we are closing everything down today. Everything will be closed down today. Can you imagine the pandemonium? Just,
yes.
Part of me is kind of like I feel like they needed to do everything gradually.
Yes, and I absolutely agree with you. I think that my biggest problem with the perceived slowness of the government's acting is more that, look, we looked at Italy, we're 2 weeks behind them, right? And what they should have done is ensured that the medical staff had the right personal protective equipment, PPE.
Yes, yeah.
And it is a tragedy that they didn't. And it's unsurprising because the Conservative government are not fans of the NHS, and that's just a fact.
No.
And I just think that this particular case, this coronavirus, has shown how important it is that we have a good infrastructure in our healthcare system. And the fact of the matter is we're only going to be as strong as the weakest people, because it is not a just or fair thing to say to anybody, right, you need to choose 5 people to die. I mean, what if that was your mum, and it's down for, you know, your mum or another younger person, and the doctor has to make a decision. Do they give the ventilator to your mum or anyone else? You're going to want your mum to survive. Of course you are. Anyone is. And that's the position that they're putting our healthcare system in. And that's what I think is where my problem is, when they dilly-dallied. They didn't order medical supplies because there's no money, there's no magic money tree, remember. But all of a sudden we're housing homeless people. Well, how have we managed to do that in a week?
I mean, do you wonder though whether they haven't got the money, and what will happen is, like a year down the line, when they do the next budget, the taxes will go up, but then everyone will moan because the taxes have gone up. And it's like, well, we need to, we need to pay back.
That is the problem. That is the problem, is people don't want to pay more tax.
Well, this is what I was saying yesterday to Hayley. People don't want to pay more tax, but they want everything.
But here's my problem with that.
Go on.
Get Amazon and Google and Philip Greens of the world, and to pay their tax bill. All I'm saying is pay what you should pay. And also, does a billionaire really need £1 billion? No, I don't think they do. And I'm not saying that you can't, be the best and have to be the richest. I'm not saying that. But like Bill Gates pays tax.
Yeah.
And he gives to charity. I mean, that's a bit of a cop out anyway, that whole, well, I give money to charity. It's like, yeah, but you write that off as a tax break. So still, I mean, the thing is I don't earn £1 million, and I don't think I'd want to be honest, but I don't enjoy paying my tax, but I feel proud that I've paid my tax. I feel proud that I've made a national insurance contribution. I think like, I've paid for, an intensive care unit bed. Good on me. Well done, me.
I think nowadays there's too much kind of, people are, very materialistic, and they want all the best things now. So they can't, there's no kind of attitude of cutting your cloth. So it's like, okay, I need a new TV, but I can't afford that one that I want. So maybe I'll get a different make and model, a cheaper one, that kind of thing. And I think that when it comes to taxes, regardless of how much I would be earning, I would still be quite happy to pay a higher tax if I ever did become ill. And it could happen. I've got diabetes, so that could happen, And if I'm in a hospital bed being looked after well, I would kind of be like, well, do you know what? Not I paid for this, but in the sense that that high tax has gone to some good.
Absolutely. And the thing is I have spent a lot of time in hospitals visiting various family members, and at least the only worry that you have is about the health and safety of the person that you're visiting. I'm not also sitting there thinking, oh, and this is costing me or us
exactly. Yeah.
£2,000 a night. In America, you see their bills, their medical bills at the end of like giving birth, and you just think, how can you charge $30 for skin-on-skin contact with your baby? Like, that's a mad, and I'm not even kidding. That is one of the things that you get charged for.
Yeah.
Why? And it's like, oh yeah, but we have the choice to get like certain medical insurance, and it's going to be better care. I know people who still, they've probably got the best insurance, and they still have to wait 8 hours in ER.
Yep.
Because triage is triage, and that's the end of it.
I think as well, a hospital is obviously, there's not many joyful occasions in hospital, is there? The only one would be childbirth. The birth of a child is an amazing thing if everything goes, swimmingly and both mother and baby are healthy. Every other thing that goes on in a hospital is usually a little bit sad, a little bit depressing. So you're as you say, your first thought when you're in them moments in a hospital aren't, well, where's my money going, blah, 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 blah. You're not thinking about that at the time. As you say, if your loved ones are in there, you're thinking about them. You're making sure that they're treated okay. So, yeah, I mean, when it comes to taxes, I'd be quite happy to pay more, for the NHS. I don't think we should lose the NHS.
I think we'll miss it when it's gone, and we would never be able to get it back.
Oh God, no.
And I think that one of the biggest issues is that most people in this country don't remember what it was like. It's been around since the 40s, since the late 40s. So, okay, we have an aging population, but for most of their lives, they've had a national health service. We don't remember how terrifying it was. I mean, my mum's from Spain, so
yeah.
They certainly, when she was growing up, they didn't have a national health service. And basically, you went to the church and you begged and you said, please, can I have some money because I need this medication, or I need, I've broken my leg, or this has happened, or whatever. Or you just treated things at home.
Really?
Yeah. And so it meant that people were very ill.
Yeah.
I mean, also, she was the last time she lived there was 1964. She came here, so that was a long time ago, and it was during the Franco dictatorship. So it's, it was a different time in lots and lots of ways. So, and I sort of think that that's nuts that my mum is she's only Spanish, but it seems like, hello, cat. But it seems like. It seems like she's from this whole different time period, it's nuts in a lot of ways.
So have you still got family out in Spain?
Yeah, but I don't talk to them.
Does your mum?
No. We talk to one cousin who lives here, who's nice.
So at the moment, during this whole kind of global pandemic, have you had any contact with what's going on in Spain?
So the cousin that lives here, she does talk to to our cousins in Spain. Okay. And she was telling me that one of my cousins works in a police station, and she has to go to work and is kitted up in basically a hazmat suit, and her job is to clean the police station.
Wow.
I mean, the funny thing about Spain is we don't really get much news from there. I hear a lot more about Italy, of course, and Spain's not as badly affected perhaps, but it's still equally affected. But I think also in Spain, there are vast swathes of it with nothing in it. Okay. you have the Sierra Nevada, which is nothing in the middle, and lots of mountains and things.
It's quite an open plain.
Yes, and very small pockets of towns and things. So certainly where my mum's from in the south, you have these sort of little mountain villages, and then on the coast, obviously you've got the Costa del Sol, but lots of that is tourists, and if they're not there, the only thing is this is going to fuck Spain, because their main way of making money is tourism.
Yeah.
But Spain was already economically fucked. Italy was Greece, the whole Portugal, Italy, Greece, Spain thing. The whole world, we're going to be plunged into a Great Depression, and I think that's something that is going to be very, very, very challenging after all of this.
It is. But I tell you, once this is all done, I'm going on holiday. Fucking hell.
Where are you going? Skegness?
No, just so prior to, it getting more serious in the UK, I was seriously looking at, every week I would look at holidays. Even Italy. Before obviously it got serious in Italy, I was thinking to myself, and this is before it became a serious issue here. I was kind of like, well, I'm not fussed about Corona, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. And so I was looking at cheap holidays,
I think my problem is I read far too many post-apocalyptic books and things about killer plagues wiping out, humanity. So I was like, this is like the beginning of one of these novels that I read. This is like the beginning of one of the films that I watch.
Yeah, the virus.
We're all fucked. We're all fucked.
Yeah. But then saying that at the same time, I don't remember the beginning of The Walking Dead having Rick Grimes trying to get a cheap EasyJet holiday.
He was in a coma.
You've
forgotten that bit. He wakes up after it's all kicked
off.
All
right, well then Shane didn't have a little conversation with him, when they got back together and said, "Oh, in between we sodded off to Spain for a week because it was cheap."
Famously, Americans don't go abroad on holiday.
Well, no, they just go to other states, don't they? Because they say that a lot of Americans don't have passports because they literally just go to, it's so big that, every state and every kind of major city has got a kind of different, not a different climate as such, but it's,
absolutely.
The climate's different enough and the culture is different enough in each state.
Absolutely, but that's what I think makes Britain so charming. I think is that we're so small and we're still very different from up the road. Our accents change, and you go to Torquay and it's all sandy beaches and palm trees. Then you go to the Highlands of Scotland, which in America is not even a state away. Anyway,
thing is, you were going to go
swanning off.
I was going to go swanning off at this time of crisis.
Being patient zero in a different country, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
bringing it with you.
Honestly, every day I would look to see whether Disneyland Paris was doing cheap hotel and Eurostar tickets. And every day I was disappointed. And then there was this article on the news about the first worker at Disneyland Paris to get it. And I thought, this is going to be it now. This is my moment. We're going to get a cheap holiday. We're going to get in there. There's going to be no queues. Fantastic. And then they closed the fucker down, didn't they?
And rightly so.
Yeah, and rightly so. I'm not knocking any decisions that have been made.
By the Disney Corporation?
By the Disney Corporation, by the government, by anyone. Because as I say, I'm quite happy to stay at home. It's great. I'm loving it. It's been...
My friend bought her mum some Eurostar tickets, vouchers.
Oh, okay.
I think she might have got her £200 worth. Anyway, the mum used some of them and then gave them back, basically. And Sarah, my friend, she said, I think you should have them to me. And I think this is like an amazing gift.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool. So she gave them to me a few months back. And then my flat's really small, which means that I lose things really easily because I put things away in a safe hidey spot and then I forget where that hidey spot is. Anyway, so I'd lost them in this tiny flat.
Right.
Then I found them 4 weeks ago and was like, oh, I could just go on like a day trip by myself to Paris. That would be great. I just like fuck around for a few hours. And then this happened. So I didn't do it. I was thinking of doing it like over my birthday weekend, which, as you know, was spent socially Yeah. Well, I saw Mead for a minute. We went for a 2 meter distance walk. We had social distancing.
Cool.
And we sat in a park.
Nice. Did you sit 2 meters away from each other?
We did actually.
Cool. Was the park busy? Because your birthday was on Mother's Day as well. And this is when everyone kicked off because all the parks were busy and Southend was rammed with scum.
It was.
Yeah.
It was quite busy.
Yeah.
And we were both just like, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Yeah.
She was telling me that, she was recently in the States. So she got a flight back a week early. And this woman who was at the airport with a face mask on and gloves,
Mm.
Mead was like, I bet I'm going to sit next to this woman. I just know.
She could feel it.
And guess who her seatmate was? This masked woman who sat down and with baby wipes. So, that's not going to kill any bacteria or virus or anything. Wiped down her seat and the tray and everything, and then sort of threw the tissue into Mead's direction, and Mead's like, great. Anyway, this woman's sitting there with her mask on and her gloves, and then they come round with the snacks, and she took the mask off and she took the gloves off, and Mead was just like, what is wrong with you? Like, what was the point?
To be fair to her, she's not going to be able to eat through the mask, is she? So.
Yeah, but why bother wearing it at all if you're going to take it off?
Very true. It is funny kind of watching people trying to do the right thing, and whether you kind of forget yourself or not. Like I coughed the other night, but I forgot to put my hand over my mouth. Now, bearing in mind, we haven't been out at all, so we haven't been in contact with anyone. I mean, I still got moaned at by Hayley because I coughed over some grated cheese, and she didn't eat it.
I mean, that's just not nice, is it? Your spit particulate.
Yeah, but then I did say to her, she was like, "Well, I'm not eating any more of that," and I was like,
"Well, because you just coughed, you basically spat on it."
Yeah, but I said to her, like, we kiss, so it's kind of.
Yes, but it's different, isn't it?
Why?
If you spat in her mouth, yeah.
Well, I've seen videos like that.
Listen, I don't know what you watch on Pornhub, but that's not the kind of porn I'm into.
Gone up 60% apparently, viewing figures on porn.
I bet it has.
Yeah, no fucker knows what to do with himself, so have a wank.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, I mean, it was good for me because that means I got all the cheese because she didn't eat it.
That's why you did it.
No.
You're one of those that's like, I spat in that. My brother used to do that. My brother Mike.
I've never done that. No, I just forgot myself.
I've got a lot of brothers.
The point still stands is that we kiss. I coughed without putting my hand over my mouth. I don't do it all the time. Is that whiskey you've got?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You really?
It's Audi version of
Samuel Jones. Oh, it's bourbon.
Yeah, I like bourbon. Yeah, whiskey's all right. But
so going back to Aldi, and obviously this time of crisis, what did you find? Like when you've been in there, I mean, obviously bog roll, that's going to be a big one that's not there. But is there anything that you found really random and just kind of like, why the fuck are people buying
chicken thighs? Why are people buying all my chicken thighs?
So what random shit have you seen or not seen in supermarkets apart from thighs?
Well, listen, there were a lot of bloody drumsticks left.
What, like the
legs?
No, I was thinking of the remember that the
sweet
uncoated ones you used to get.
Oh yeah,
they were gorgeous. So can you even still get them?
You can make them.
I know you can make them. You can try and make a turkey twizzler, but it ain't the same, is it? Let's be honest. But okay, now. So
I had some Big Mac sauce in the fridge.
Oh.
So yeah.
Is that going to be a permanent thing, or have they done that? It fucking
better be. No, they
have they done that because of the Grand Mac? Or you can buy an extra pot of Big Mac sauce.
Yeah.
Because fuck,
yeah,
lovely, so nice.
But I think that I think it's going to be. I think people are going to be so in uproar about it.
Mm.
Because now you can always get the sour cream, and because they're going to take it off. Because it was a special thing, you don't always have the big tasty.
But sometimes they do.
I know too much about.
Yeah, but sometimes they do this as like a trial run, and if it is popular enough, they'll do it all the time. I mean, they're making Big Mac sauce anyway. Fuck's sake! So
exactly, and they charge. They charge 50p for that.
Exactly. So
and I bought 2 of them.
You having whiskey and coke?
Yeah, sort of.
What do you mean, sort of?
Basically, I've only got this much Diet Coke left, which is, most of a 2-litre bottle, but I drink a lot of Diet Coke. I don't drink tea and coffee. I don't drink tea at all. I drink coffee sometimes.
Right.
And I've got squash, but I can't have squash and whiskey. That's weird.
Who does?
I don't know, some sick person probably.
Probably these bastards that invented Guinness and Black and all that.
Oh yeah, that's
although I've actually had Guinness and Black. It's very nice. You have been listening to Vicky.
You've been listening to Vicky saying, I don't want to join House Party. I mean, I'm on it, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah. This is what I mean. This is where the world goes mad and fucking everyone now wants to be in contact. It's exactly what I said earlier on. No, fuck, I wanted to be in contact before and it was great. Now everyone's like, oh, we've got to do Zoom. Like, I saw my mum the other day because she dropped at the doorstep some provisions. But I couldn't cuddle her. I couldn't, give her a kiss or anything like that. It was more of a hello wave, 2 meters away. Thank you, love you, bye.
Yeah.
That was 2 days ago. And last night we Zoomed because, what's the difference between before though? When
I see my mum and dad, as you know, like twice a week. And because I haven't been able to see my mum, she rings me often. I mean, she does anyway.
So who's at home? So your mum and dad's?
Mum and dad and 3 of my brothers.
And everyone's quarantining together?
Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. So Philip can't work because his job is a Saniflow engineer, and his boss is like, you're not going to people's houses. Not doing it. Because even before all of this, she kept, every time somebody would ring up, she would go through this like sort of checklist of, have you been away in the last 14 days? And Phil was like, oh, it's too much, Vic. It's just too much. Like, oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And because he's a Saniflow engineer, he wears gloves and washes his hands often. And, so he feels like, that's all right. Anyway, then another brother, he works on the underground at night. So he's still going to work, but it's very short hours.
It's not busy then.
He doesn't and he doesn't commute because he drives to work and it's nighttime. And they wear masks and things anyway, so that's sort of all right. And Mikey is, I don't know what he does. He's a lone wolf. He's a weirdo. It's just a fact. It just goes, I don't know what he does with his time. I don't want to know either.
No. I mean, no.
But yeah, so, and Dad goes to the chemist and to,
Which he shouldn't be doing really. Your dad should be staying in because he's old.
That's right. But he won't be told. And I did go, the last time I went round was last Tuesday to drop off. Do you remember the last time we met up, James? We went to King's Cross and I had a package.
Yeah.
And it was full of face masks.
Yeah. There's something that you got sent by mistake and I regrettingly chucked them when I got home because you gave me some. Because I thought, it ain't going to get serious.
Well, you see, I tried, didn't I? That was in January. I tried.
So you kept them? You kept them?
And so I gave him some.
Meanwhile, the guy that's waiting for them is now dead.
No, he just reordered some.
Did he though?
Yeah. He's all right.
With his last breath, he pressed accept order and they arrived too late. Yeah.
The thing is, these sorts of face masks are medical ones which protect others from you, not you from others. Yeah, they're not N95 face masks.
Oh, okay.
Mate, I know about masks.
So, but has your family been reading them, wearing them?
My dad has, yes.
Okay.
Because he's the one that goes out and.
No, you're fair play for him because I think from what I've seen, I do think there is a slight stubbornness amongst the older generation across this, whether it's because they don't really understand it but from the experience and stories I've heard, they just are a bit like, well, why can't I do that? Why can't I do this? And they, just a kind of a stubbornness to kind of change their ways, because, you know, understandably, they're probably settled in their ways because they've been on this earth a long time. So they don't.
Yeah, but if they want to make it, if they want to make their time shorter, then crack on.
Maybe this is it. Maybe they're like, do you know what? I was finding the way out, and this might be it now. So
I think that, and I think it's true for everyone, you know, even younger people. I think they're like, oh, it's only a bit of flu.
Yeah.
And it just isn't. And it just isn't.
No, I mean it is.
And also, flu kills people.
But this is the thing: it is a bit of flu. That is fundamentally what it is. The issue is we've got no cure for it yet. We've got no vaccine. So literally, all we're doing is trying to bide ourselves a bit of time.
Yes, we're flattening the curve.
We are trying to bide ourselves time. We are trying to bide the NHS some time, because it's not just corona. People forget that. Yeah, that's what everyone's talking about at the moment, but people are still going to hospital for other things.
Yes.
You know, people still get appendicitis. People still are in A&E because
I've got a neurology appointment in May.
And that's what I mean. You know, not all this stuff
maybe
stops just because. Well, you'll probably get that pushback, but not everything will stop just to handle corona.
No, and I think that what this has shown though is that I read a tweet the other day from a doctor who said that he noticed that waiting rooms had fewer people in them, you know, for A&E.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, because you people have realised that little boo-boo is just a little boo-boo.
Yeah.
And stop wasting the NHS time.
Well, hopefully that attitude will stay once all this is over. I mean, I'm a little bit pessimistic. I do think that once things like this, or not even like this, but just...
That's people from Kent for you, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, as soon as things go back to normal during a big change, people very quickly fall back into old routines.
That is true. But I do think, okay...
There are going to be a majority of people that will maintain this change afterwards, but I don't think everyone will.
So... The only sort of thing that this is similar to socially is the Second World War, right? Mm-hmm. And the impact of the Second World War on social history and culture are so far reaching, like you wouldn't believe how much it impacted us as a nation and as a world. Yeah. And I think that I would say it took about 40 years for people to forget it, essentially.
Yeah.
So I do think that, I mean, this is not going to last only a few minutes. This is going to go on longer.
I mean, this will probably be the whole of 2020, if I'm honest. I think it will be.
Absolutely. The nearest we can hope for a vaccine is 18 months.
Yeah.
I've got a calendar next to me.
You might as well tear that from the wall because you ain't going to need that for the rest of the year.
Well, on the notes section, I've just written Jesus fucking Christ. I just thought I'd point that out to you.
Cool. Is that because we're coming up to Easter, or?
Yeah. Oh, maybe I should just buy loads of Easter eggs and eat them. Or
I mean, I think things like that. I think sales, like obviously they'll have to be delivered, but I think sales on Easter eggs and things like that will go through the roof because people will want every little bit of joy that they can muster over this time. And if they're stuck indoors, they'll be like, fuck it, let's just buy all the eggs.
I do think that most years anyway. No, I don't buy all the eggs.
No.
But I do think it.
No, but this is the difference, is this year you will buy all the eggs.
No, I'll buy one good egg. The best one. I don't know which one that might be yet, but I'll buy a good one.
Good egg.
Because, well, my birthday was postponed.
Yes. I mean, as everyone's will probably be this year, let's be honest.
Well, unless your birthday was before this. So my friend's is in early March and she went to France. And so she just got in there. So she's aged 1 year, but I have not. I have decided that I am now still 37, and that is
will be for the foreseeable future
until hopefully next year, where I will be 38.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that this time next year we'll all be in a very different situation and laughing about this around the table all together, you know?
Doing a real podcast, the one that we wanted.
Yeah. But this
so
is
I think we should yeah, I think we should explain a little bit for the listeners. Although
after that hour-long introduction.
No, we're just, this is
Bants, isn't it? It's Bants.
Oh, Bants.
Proper
Yeah.
Bants, yeah.
So, James and I tried to do a bit of stand-up comedy, and I think we did very well, frankly. But I don't know about James, but I can't be bothered to do it. You've got to really put yourself out there and gig. And also, I don't like to take anything very seriously. And a lot of people that I know who are in comedy, they take it so seriously. And I think that's great and it's admirable. But I'm very lazy and I can't be asked. Yeah. But we think that why don't we do this? And the idea was that we would be in the same room. And so in January, we met up. We decided that this weekend I was going to go to James's and we were going to do lots of recording of lots of different topics, and that would be great. And then this happened. And so I said, let's just do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that was all I wanted to say, was that we had already planned pre-COVID-19 to do this on this weekend. And I just thought, well, let's not use that as an obstacle. Let's just do it.
Let's use that as a diving board and jump off into this sea of a sort of swimming pool of topics. So I mean, Vicky, you know, in the past you still do, you write little snippets of blogs, don't you? You like kind of, about various subjects.
It goes back to the laziness where I'm like, I've got loads of things to say about this topic, and then I write 3 paragraphs and go, that'll do.
Yeah, but I mean, I like how they're short. I mean, I don't know what will happen with this. I don't think it'll be, your kind of blog short. But then when you're actually having an actual discussion with someone, if you're having a decent conversation, then conversations aren't short, are they? If they're short, it means you're bored of the person and they can fuck off.
Absolutely. And so, exactly. So so I have a blog that is called Vicky Goes On and On, and the USP of that is that I just think, today I'm going to write about whatever.
Yeah.
I've had 3 iterations of this blog, and one of them is lost to the internet. I'm sure some computer savvy person will be able to get those blogs.
Yeah.
And that would be great, but I can't, in my limited knowledge. So I started.
And you do use the internet a lot, so
I do.
You've got limited knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I just think that nothing on the internet is lost. I'm aware of that, but I just sort of can't figure out.
It doesn't matter how much you clean your search history; it's never lost.
No, well, that's true. And the internet is there, like it's there. So be careful, guys.
Yeah.
So I restarted it again recently, and then we decided that would be a really good sort of platform for this blog, for this podcast too.
Are you drinking whiskey out of a pint glass?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds probably worse than what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really small amount of whiskey and ice.
It's not a full pint glass.
No.
Yeah. So do you think anything positive is ever going to come out of all of this?
Yes. I think things that are positive have already come out of all of this. One of which is that carbon monoxide, carbon emissions have gone down.
Yes.
So pollution has been affected in a good way. I also think that, there are some really hopeful and kind things that have happened, people pulling together in a lot of ways. And I think that, as I said on my blog, I think that, yes, some people are dicks, but some people are always dicks, right? But some people are good and kind and pure, and, try and be one of those people instead of hoarding toilet paper. Try and be a good person. And I think we're going to see much more of that. The only way to get through anything is together, even if we're alone. Just don't be a dick. I mean, that's sort of my philosophy anyway. If you can't be good, like actively good, just don't be bad.
I think that is one of the things that you and I do have in common, is that regardless of sometimes our opinions differ, and me especially, and we can say things that some people might find either controversial or a bit, near the mark. Fundamentally, our attitude is don't be a dick.
Yes.
You can say things, but just be nice. Just be fucking nice.
Listen, you and I do disagree, but ultimately we respect each other and love each other, and I think that it doesn't matter if you disagree, so long as you have the respect and love that we can get that. It's free, right? We don't have to pay for it. And so I think everybody's entitled to an opinion. I don't think that my opinion is the right one. It's just the one that I have, and it can change, sure, but ultimately I'm the one that's going to change it. And so, when people, they sort of blather on and they're like, no, you're wrong, this is what I think, I just think, okay, well, maybe I'll change my mind and agree with you, but at the moment that ain't what I think. So let's just respectfully agree to disagree.
I think this is the problem, and I think a lot of people fall down on this, and it comes to politics, it comes to just interaction in general, like public, the way they are. There's very much this attitude of my opinion is right and yours is wrong. There's no attitude of, okay, I disagree with that, but fair enough. If someone thinks your opinion's wrong, then they automatically think you're a prick.
And also,
just because
also that they think that they're right.
But
just because you think I'm wrong doesn't mean that you are right.
But the problem with a lot of people is it spawns a kind of hatred, because you can, and as our friendship has proven, you can like someone and love someone but not always agree with them. There's too much nowadays of people going, I disagree with you, therefore you're a dickhead.
Yes. And therefore I don't want to speak to you. It's like,
and it's kind of like,
but how am I going to know a different opinion? You can all live in an echo chamber.
This person might not have the same ideas as you, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're a knob.
No, it's like Brexit, right? Most of my friends who I was sort of discussing it with on social media all seem to be like me, pro-Remain. And then I went and spoke to other people who were not pro-Remain, and I was like, that's all of my friends don't think that, but of course it turns out some of my friends did think that, but they didn't want to be lambasted, and I think that's a shame, because I think it's important to discuss things.
It's a funny old world. Let me just say that to you.
Is that your cutting, insightful opinion there? It's a funny old world, isn't it?
It's a funny old world, son. I get a pint in.
You even got lager that you can drink to pretend that you're in a pub?
Got red wine.
Yes, I know, darling. But You never drink red wine when we go out. Otherwise, I'd buy a bottle.
It's because it's more expensive.
Anyway, I've drunk quite a lot of this whiskey, so...
Well, speaking of liquids,
yes,
can we stop for a pee?
Of course.
Cool. All right, my love.
All right.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, and I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah. Cool. Bye-bye.
Be good. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.